When I was 22, I started renting the downstairs apartment in my parents' house. It was a way to save money while still having a bit more privacy. Even though my parents were away quite often, I still felt like I never truly had my own space. I couldn't have friends or dates over without feeling like I was being watched or monitored. The downstairs apartment was separated by a lockable door in the stairway. It had an open layout, with a small kitchen connected to the living room area. Down the hall were my bedroom, bathroom, and laundry room, with a side entrance leading into the living room. One weekend my parents were away, so I had the place to myself. I invited my friends Anthony and Jay over for a relaxed night, just drinking a bit, watching the hockey game, and playing music. Since my parents weren't home, we blasted music as we hung out. I wasn't completely drunk, but I definitely had a buzz going by the end of the game. When my parents were away, I would leave the door between my apartment and the upstairs unlocked since I didn't have to worry about them coming down. The main fridge was upstairs, which was bigger and just more convenient. Since both Anthony and Jay had been drinking, they decided to crash at my place for the night. The couch downstairs was massive, easily big enough for 3 people to sleep comfortably. After a long night, I told them good night and went to my bedroom. A few hours later, I woke up in the middle of the night, disturbed by a noise. I could hear footsteps coming from upstairs. My first thought was that one of my friends had gone up to grab a bottle of water from the fridge, so I didn't think much of it and closed my eyes again. But a couple of minutes later, I heard something else. The sound of my bedroom doorknob turning. Someone was trying to open the door, but it was locked. I always lock my bedroom door out of habit. I wondered why either of my friends would be trying to enter my room. I was too tired to care, and figured if I ignored it, they'd give up and go back to sleep. Eventually, I drifted off again. The next morning, Anthony was already gone, but Jay was still asleep on the couch. As he woke up, I asked him if he had tried coming into my room the previous night. He seemed confused and said he didn't think so, but admitted that he was pretty drunk and couldn't fully remember. We went to a nearby deli for breakfast, then ate in my backyard before Jay left. I didn't bother asking Anthony, figuring it wasn't a big deal. That Saturday, I was out for most of the day, hanging out with other friends. I came back late at night, sober but exhausted. After grabbing a snack and washing up, I went straight to bed. But instead of sleeping right away, I watched TV for about an hour. The moment I turned it off, I heard it again. Faint creaks and thumps from above, as if someone was walking in the kitchen upstairs. At first, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me, that it was just the house settling. But as I lay there, I heard the sound again, more deliberate this time. Then it happened. The doorknob to my bedroom twisted again. I shot up in bed, my heart pounding. This time, there was also a light knock. Someone was standing right outside my door. I didn't say a word. My mind raced, and I grabbed my phone, frantically texting my family, Anthony and Jay. Deep down, I knew neither of my friends were here, but I still clung to the hope that one of them would reply saying it was just them. No one responded. My parents weren't due back until Monday. They wouldn't be home. I wasn't about to call out and ask who was there. Instead, I quietly slipped out of bed, grabbed a blunt object, and positioned myself behind the corner dresser. If someone broke in, I needed to be ready. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. The silence was deafening. Finally, I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. Whispering as quietly as I could, I explained my situation. The operator stayed on the line, advising me to remain in my room. I asked her to have the responding officers signal me through my bedroom window when they arrived. A few moments later, I heard a tap on the glass. I rushed over, relieved to see a uniformed officer. I handed him the spare key to the side door, and moments later, I heard my apartment door open. The officers quickly swept through my apartment. It was small with few hiding places, so the search didn't take long. Then we moved upstairs. I told them which rooms belonged to whom as they methodically checked each one. But when they reached my parents' room, I heard commotion. My stomach dropped. From the hallway, I heard the officers shouting. I peeked inside and saw them confronting someone hiding under my parents' bed. My blood ran cold. I was ordered to stay downstairs as the officers dragged the man out. Moments later, they were leading a tall, filthy, and unsettlingly thin man down the stairs. He wore a sweatshirt and shorts and looked completely disheveled, like he could have been homeless, deranged, or both. One of the officers asked if I knew him. I shook my head. Absolutely not. The man's expression as he looked at me was chilling. Pure hatred, something I'll never forget. He didn't say a word, just stared at me as they took him outside. Once he was gone, I felt a massive weight lift off my chest. The police told me that if I or my parents wanted to follow up, we should call the precinct. After they left, I immediately texted my family and friends. But since it was so late, only a few people responded. First thing in the morning, I called my parents and told them everything. They were horrified, as anyone would be. But since nothing was stolen and the man appeared to be homeless, they decided not to pursue legal action. To this day, I think about that night. Maybe I left the front door unlocked when Anthony and Jay came over, and that man simply walked in while we were distracted with music and drinks. Or, a more terrifying thought, what if he had been in the house long before that, hiding in some unnoticed space, waiting for the perfect moment?
I've always loved the quiet. That's why, 5 years ago, I moved to a secluded cabin in rural upstate New York, far away from the chaos of the city. The place is big, isolated, and surrounded by deep, endless woods. My nearest neighbor is miles away, and the only sounds I ever hear are the wind rustling through the trees and the occasional chirping of a bird. It's peaceful, just the way I like it. Fishing is my thing. There's a lake right behind my house where I spend most of my time. It's the perfect escape. I don't mind being alone. Hell, I enjoy it. My cabin has a large deck overlooking the woods, and I often sit there with a cold beer, watching the sun sink behind the trees, listening to the stillness of the night. It's always been peaceful. Until recently. It started about 2 weeks ago. I was on the deck staring into the dark when I heard something. A twig snapping in the distance. I didn't think much of it. Probably a deer or a raccoon. The woods are full of life, and I've grown used to the occasional noise. But as the days passed, the sounds became more frequent. At first, it was just the rustling of leaves or a faint crunch of footsteps in the distance, things I could explain away. Then, one night, I heard something different, a scratching sound. It came from the side of the house, near the spare bedroom window. It was soft, almost cautious, like something or someone was trying not to be heard. I sat up in my chair, my heart pounding just a little harder than usual. I waited, but nothing followed. Probably just a squirrel, I told myself. But something about it felt wrong. The next night I heard it again, the scratching. But this time it was closer, right outside the spare bedroom window. I froze, listening carefully, my nerves on edge. Something was off. I couldn't explain it, but I felt it in my gut. Slowly I walked over to the window, hesitated, then pulled the curtain back just slightly. The moonlight bathed the yard, casting long, eerie shadows across the trees. The wind was still. Everything looked normal. No animal, no person. I let out a shaky breath and shook my head, convincing myself it was just a tree branch or the wind. I went to bed, trying to ignore the unease creeping up my spine. The next night, the sound came again. It wasn't just scratching anymore, it was tapping. Light, deliberate taps on the glass, like someone was trying to get my attention. My heartbeat stuttered. I bolted upright and grabbed a flashlight. I moved through the dark hallway, my footsteps slow and careful, until I reached the spare bedroom. Taking a deep breath, I flicked on the flashlight and shone it outside. Nothing. No footprints in the dirt. No movement in the trees. Just the same empty woods. But the air around me felt heavy, thick, like something unseen was pressing against me. I couldn't explain it, but I knew. I wasn't alone. I went back to bed, but I didn't sleep. Every small creak of the floor, every whisper of wind against the house made my skin crawl. I stayed awake, listening. At some point, exhaustion won, and I drifted off. The nights went on, and the sounds didn't stop. Every night, the same thing. A scratch, a tap. Sometimes a faint whisper that seemed to come from inside the walls. I tried to ignore it, but it was getting harder. One night I decided to confront it. Maybe it was just an animal, I thought. Maybe a raccoon had found its way into the house. I grabbed a crowbar from the shed just in case and headed toward the spare bedroom. The air inside was stale, untouched. I hadn't used the room in months. My flashlight swept across the walls, under the bed, behind the dresser. Nothing. I almost laughed at myself until I saw it. The closet door. It was slightly ajar. I didn't remember leaving it like that. My stomach twisted. Slowly, I stepped forward and reached for the handle. I pulled the door open. Nothing. But then my flashlight caught something. Something small caught on the edge of the wall. A torn piece of cloth, dark and frayed, wedged into a crack in the wood. I stopped breathing. My mind raced. Had someone been inside my house? I backed out of the room, my heart hammering. I slammed the door shut and locked it. I couldn't stay inside. I needed air. Stepping outside, I inhaled deeply, but the night didn't feel as peaceful as it once did. The darkness around me felt alive, like it was watching me. Maybe it was just my nerves. Maybe I was letting the isolation get to me. That night, I slept on the couch, a baseball bat within reach. But I didn't hear anything. No scratching, no tapping. Just silence. Too much silence. The next night, I told myself I wouldn't let this fear control me. I'd sleep in my own bed, and I wouldn't let some unexplained noises drive me out of my own house. But just as I was about to drift off, tap, tap, tap. I shot up, my pulse racing. Grabbing the flashlight, I ran toward the spare bedroom, not caring how loud my footsteps were. This time, when I pulled back the curtain, I didn't just see the woods. I saw a shadow. Someone was standing outside the window, barely visible in the dim light. I froze. My blood turned to ice. I turned away, my mind spinning. Who was that? How long had they been out there? How long had they been watching me?
Imagine a book so perilous, so utterly forbidden, that merely reading it could shatter a person's sanity. A book filled with rituals to summon entities beyond human comprehension. Secrets about life, death, and the cosmos so horrifying that religious institutions and secret societies have allegedly tried to erase every trace of its existence. It is known as the Necronomicon. While many believe it to be nothing more than the fictional creation of horror writer H.P. Lovecraft, others insist that fragments of this book are real, hidden away in secret libraries, locked vaults, and perhaps even within the Vatican's archives. So, is the Necronomicon a terrifying work of fiction? Or could it be an actual grimoire containing ancient and forbidden knowledge? Let's uncover the strangest, most chilling facts about this book and explore why some believe it holds the key to an arcane and dangerous truth. The first mention of the Necronomicon appeared in Lovecraft's 1924 short story, The Hound. According to his mythology, the book was originally written in the 8th century by Abdul al-Hazred, a poet and scholar from Yemen. He was said to have journeyed across the ancient world, seeking forbidden knowledge, exploring the ruins of Babylon and Egypt, and ultimately discovering a place known as the Nameless City, a place said to be older than human civilization itself. It was there that al-Hazred uncovered a terrifying truth. The world we perceive is merely a fragile veil, hiding an ancient reality, one where cosmic entities known as the Great Old Ones ruled long before humanity ever existed. He compiled his findings into a single volume, originally titled Al-Azif, a term referring to the eerie nocturnal sounds believed to be the whispers of demons. According to legend, al-Hazred met a gruesome and mysterious end, ripped apart by an unseen force in broad daylight as horrified onlookers watched, powerless to intervene. Some say his death was a warning, proof that the knowledge he had written down was never meant for human eyes. The book remained lost for centuries until it was translated into Greek in 958 AD by Theodorus Philetas, who renamed it Necronomicon, meaning the Book of Dead Names. But wherever the book appeared, disaster seemed to follow. By 1050 AD, the Patriarch of Constantinople ordered all copies destroyed, declaring them far too dangerous to exist. Yet despite repeated efforts to erase its presence, the book resurfaced time and time again, whispered about in secret, passed through hidden hands. In 1228 AD, a Latin translation emerged, completed by Olaus Wormius. But by 1232 AD, the Catholic Church had banned the book and locked any remaining copies away in secret archives. According to Lovecraft, only 5 original copies of the Necronomicon remain today, stored in the British Museum, London, Bibliothèque Nationale de France, Paris, Harvard University, Massachusetts, the University of Buenos Aires, Argentina, Miskatonic University, Arkham, a fictional location from Lovecraft's stories. Or is it? Why is this book so feared? 1. Rituals to summon the Ancient Ones. According to Lovecraft's mythos, the Necronomicon contains rituals capable of awakening the Great Old Ones, cosmic deities such as Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep, and Yog-Sothoth. These beings are said to be either sleeping beneath the earth or waiting in the void between the stars, biding their time until they return. 1. Rituals that lead to madness or disappearance. The Necronomicon is said to contain instructions on how to contact otherworldly entities, but those who attempt these rituals often face a grim fate. Many descend into madness, while others mysteriously vanish without a trace. 2. Secrets of life, death, and the afterlife. It is believed that the Necronomicon holds forbidden knowledge about reanimation, necromancy, and ways to communicate with the dead. Some claim it explains the mechanics of the soul, how it can be transferred or even trapped. Disturbing accounts exist of people who have read passages from the book, only to experience hallucinations, witness shadowy figures, or hear whispers in languages unknown to humanity. The true ancient history of the cosmos. The book supposedly reveals the Earth's forgotten history, long before human civilization. It suggests that our existence is nothing more than a fleeting moment in time, and that powerful ancient beings once ruled this world for eons before falling into a deep slumber or being banished. But the book carries a chilling warning. One day, they will awaken. 4. Forbidden symbols and impossible geometry. The Necronomicon is said to contain diagrams and symbols that defy the known laws of physics, geometric patterns that seem to exist outside human understanding. Some researchers claim that certain designs in the book can trigger unsettling visions, leading to obsession, insanity, or even death. Despite H.P. Lovecraft's insistence that the Necronomicon was pure fiction, its legend refuses to die. Over the years, several so-called real versions of the book have surfaced, each claiming to be the true text of forbidden knowledge. Famous Necronomicon Versions 1. The Simon Necronomicon. In 1977, a book titled Necronomicon was published under the pseudonym Simon. Unlike Lovecraft's version, this book claimed to be rooted in ancient Sumerian and Babylonian texts. While scholars dismiss it as a hoax, the Simon Necronomicon has sold over 800,000 copies, and many modern occultists insist that it possesses genuine power. 2. The Vatican Archive Theory. Some conspiracy theorists believe that a true version of the Necronomicon is locked away in the Vatican's secret archives, hidden from the world because of the potentially earth-shattering knowledge it contains. 3. The Necronomicon Files, 1998. An investigative book titled The Necronomicon Files attempted to debunk all claims about the book's authenticity, arguing that every known version is either a hoax or a misinterpretation of Lovecraft's fiction. And yet, the legend continues to grow. The Necronomicon's impact on pop culture. The Evil Dead, 1981. The film introduced the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, a sinister book that summons demonic forces. H.P. Lovecraft's mythos. The book plays a key role in Lovecraft's horror stories, inspiring generations of writers. Occult and conspiracy theories. Some claim the Necronomicon contains real, forbidden knowledge and attempt to use it in modern rituals. So is the Necronomicon simply a creation of Lovecraft's imagination? Or is it based on something far older, something truly forbidden? The fact that so many people believe in its existence despite all logic raises a chilling question. What if fragments of it are real, hidden away in secret archives, waiting to be discovered? Would you dare to read it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't